in this first chapter, what we're going to discuss is some of the basics of chemistry. On your learning goals for this unit, there's two that I'm going to hit in this chapter. It's identify the location of the subatomic particles and use the periodic table to determine the number of each subatomic particle for any element. I'm going to use this slideshow to go ahead and help me with my explanation of things. Let's go ahead and start with pure substances. This is a picture of three pure substances. This one is lead. This top right hand corner is graphite. Is carbon. And this bottom right hand corner is gold. All of these pieces of pure substance can be broken down into the most basic part. The most basic part that an element can consist of is an atom. All things in our universe are considered to be matter. So matter is anything that takes up space and has weight or has mass. So matter can be anything that exists, basically. Matter can be living, matter can be non-living, but all of it is made up of elements, either one element, like in the pictures that I showed you previously, or a combination of elements, such as water is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen. Elements contain atoms, and an atom is the smallest unit of matter. An atom has several different parts. Those parts are called subatomic particles. Neutrons, protons, and electrons are all subatomic particles. The neutrons and the protons can be found in the center of the atom. The nucleus is the center of the atom. The number of electrons in the outer energy shell is what determines the chemical properties of an atom, and the number of electrons in the outer shell is called the valence electrons. The first energy shell can hold 2 electrons, and the next energy shell can hold 8. This is a diagram that shows a typical model of an atom. In here you have the nucleus. The nucleus is made up of these red dots and these gray dots. The red dots are representing protons, and the number of protons is what distinguishes one element from another. This particular one looks like it has 4 protons, and the gray spheres in the center here are neutrons. Together, the neutrons and the protons make up the nucleus. Surrounding the nucleus are these 2 orbits, these 2 circles. These circles represent the energy shells. The first energy shell, if you notice, has 2 blue dots on it. The blue dots represent electrons. Electrons are negatively charged. The first energy shell can hold 2 of them, like the diagram shows, and the second energy shell can hold 8 of them, just like the illustration shows. A couple more basic definitions. The atomic number of an atom is simply the number of protons that it has. Protons have a positive electrical charge. The atomic mass of an atom is the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. Neutrons have no charge, and electrons have a negative charge. If an atom is electrically neutral, what it means is that the number of protons equals the number of electrons. If you see a symbol for an element and it contains no number with a plus or minus sign after it, then you can assume that it's neutral. Therefore, the number of protons will equal the number of electrons. This is a periodic table of elements, and if you notice here, the large nitrogen here has the different numbers that are actually labeled. In the upper left-hand corner, you will always find the atomic number, which is the number of protons. The large letter here is the chemical symbol. This is the symbol for nitrogen. The chemical name is typically written underneath the symbol, and the atomic weight is typically written under the chemical name. Remember that the atomic weight, or the atomic mass, is the number of neutrons plus the number of protons. Oftentimes it is listed as an average atomic mass, which would mean that it's going to be a fraction, so 14 point something. That just means that if we added up all of the atoms of that particular element in the universe and found their average mass, it would be a fraction of a number and not just a whole number. This particular periodic table of elements has has rounded the atomic weight to a whole number just to make it a little bit easier to read. That's all for Chapter 1.